We often think it takes millions of dollars, a big stage, or a powerful title to change the world. But sometimes, all it takes is a smile, a kind word, or a small gesture of compassion. One act of kindness can ripple through a person's life in ways you may never see, healing wounds, restoring hope, and even rewriting someone's future. The truth is, you never know how far the smallest spark of kindness can travel. Somewhere in this world right now, a person is carrying a weight you cannot see. They wear a smile on the outside, but on the inside, they are breaking, wondering if they can take another step. And maybe, just maybe, the thing that keeps them standing will not be a fortune, not a miracle, not some grand event, but a single act of kindness from someone like you. A gentle word, a helping hand, a moment of patience in a world rushing with indifference. You see, life has a way of convincing us that only the grand gestures matter. We chase the spectacular, the extraordinary, the big moments that everyone will notice. But if you look closely, if you really pay attention, you'll see that history is not only shaped by kings and leaders, it's shaped by ordinary people who dared to be kind in extraordinary moments. A teacher who believed in a struggling child, a stranger who stopped to listen when no one else would, a friend who said, "I believe in you," when the world shouted, "You'll never make it." Kindness is underestimated because it doesn't come with fireworks. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't make headlines, but it changes lives. And what's even more powerful is that the giver of kindness often never realizes the depth of their impact. You may hold a door open and think it's nothing, yet that small act could remind someone that the world is not as cold as they feared. You may speak a kind word in passing, not knowing that it becomes the one ray of light that pierces someone's darkness. Kindness doesn't just transform the receiver, it transforms the giver. Every time you extend a hand instead of pointing a finger, every time you lift someone up instead of stepping over them, you build something inside yourself. You strengthen your own spirit. You prove to yourself that in a world where it is easy to be harsh, you have chosen to be human. Kindness is not weakness. It is not softness. It is not naivety. Kindness is strength under control. It takes courage to be kind in a world that rewards selfishness. It takes vision to see beyond your own needs and notice the silent battles of others. And it takes character, deep, unshakable character, to choose compassion when anger, pride, or indifference would be easier. One act of kindness can break the chain of bitterness. One act of kindness can stop the cycle of hate. One act of kindness can plant the seed of hope in a heart that thought it had none left. When you show kindness, it rarely stops with the person who receives it. They carry it forward. They pass it on. And before you know it, your single act has multiplied into dozens, then hundreds, then thousands, rippling farther than you could ever travel yourself. I want you to remember something. You don't need riches to make someone's life richer. You don't need titles to give someone dignity. And you don't need to be famous to leave a legacy. All you need is the courage to be kind. Because while the world is busy chasing glory, true greatness often begins with one small, quiet act of compassion that nobody notices, except the person whose life is forever changed by it. The invisible power of small gestures. How many times in your life did a single sentence, a single smile, or a single helping hand completely shift the way you felt? You see, kindness is not measured by the size of the act, but by the weight it carries in the human heart. A kind word may be forgotten by the one who speaks it, but it can live forever in the one who receives it. I once heard a story of a young man walking through a crowded street. He was burdened, weary, and ready to give up on himself. And then, someone, a complete stranger, simply stopped, looked him in the eyes, and said, "You're going to be all right." That moment didn't change the world's economy. It didn't stop wars. It didn't make headlines. But for that young man, it stopped the storm inside his soul. He found the strength to keep going, simply because someone cared enough to notice him. That is the invisible power of kindness. It goes where you cannot go. It enters hearts you may never meet again. You don't need wealth to give it. You don't need permission to share it. And the truth is, while the world is busy chasing greatness, most people overlook the quiet miracles that come from small, sincere gestures. When you hold a door open, when you listen without interrupting, when you remind someone that they matter, you plant seeds. And the miracle is this: seeds of kindness never die. They may take years to grow, but when they blossom, they bear fruit far beyond the one who planted them. So don't underestimate the invisible power you carry in your daily interactions. For you may think it's just a moment of politeness, but to someone else, it's a reason to believe in humanity again. How kindness rewrites pain into hope. Every single person you meet is carrying a story you may never know. Behind the smile at work, behind the polite conversations, behind the confident posture, there could be storms raging inside. People walk through life with silent battles, broken homes, financial struggles, the weight of rejection, or the loneliness of feeling invisible. And here's the truth: most of them will never say a word. You cross paths with someone whose spirit is worn down. Life has beaten them to the ground. They may look strong, but inside, they are holding on by a thread. In that very moment, your kindness, yes, your words, your time, your gesture, can become the bridge between despair and hope. Kindness is not just about being nice. It's not about politeness or courtesy alone. It is a force that rewrites pain into hope. When someone feels overlooked, your kindness tells them they are seen. When someone feels unworthy, your kindness reminds them they matter. When someone feels like giving up, your kindness whispers, you still have a reason to keep going. History is filled with leaders, teachers, and ordinary men and women who understood this. They didn't always carry riches, armies, or influence, but they carried kindness, and it changed lives. It lifted the forgotten. It gave strength to the weak. It healed wounds that medicine alone could never touch. The most beautiful truth about kindness is that it multiplies. One act of compassion creates ripples. A child who experiences kindness learns to extend it to others. A worker who feels valued passes encouragement to the next person. And even a stranger who receives your kindness may go on to carry that light into another dark corner of the world. So never underestimate your role. You are not just passing through life, you are leaving imprints. Every gentle word, every patient ear, every helping hand is rewriting someone's pain into hope. And in that transformation, you also rewrite your own life. Because in giving hope, you find strength. In lifting others, you rise too. The ripple effect of selfless giving. When you throw a stone into a calm pond, the ripples move outward, touching every corner of the water's surface. That is exactly what happens when you practice selfless giving. You may think your action is small, insignificant, barely noticed, but it travels farther than you could ever imagine. Selfless giving is not measured by the size of what you give. It is measured by the spirit in which you give it. A kind word costs nothing, yet it can repair a broken heart. A moment of your time can ease the weight of loneliness someone has carried for years. Sharing your knowledge may empower another person to rise higher than you ever did. These are not random gestures, they are seeds. And seeds, when planted, always produce more than what was sown. The power of selfless giving is that it creates a chain reaction. You lift someone, and in their renewed strength, they go on to lift another. That person lifts someone else, and the cycle continues, multiplying in ways you will never see. A teacher inspires a student who later becomes a leader who then changes an entire community. A stranger offers compassion to a hurting soul, and that soul later becomes the reason someone else doesn't give up on life. One act of giving can echo through generations. Giving is not about loss. It's not about what leaves your hand. It's about what fills your heart. You do not become weaker when you give. You become stronger. You do not end up with less. You end up with more meaning, more connection, more purpose. When you give, you align yourself with the highest law of life. We are here to serve, to build, and to leave the world better than we found it. Think about it. How many lives have already been shaped because someone, somewhere, decided to give without expecting anything in return? A parent who sacrificed for their child, a mentor who guided without asking for recognition, a friend who stood by you in silence when words failed. These moments of selfless giving are the threads that hold humanity together. The ripple effect doesn't just move outward, it comes back. Life has a mysterious way of returning kindness to the giver. Maybe not immediately, maybe not in the form you expect, but it always finds its way home. You cannot give light without being warmed by it. You cannot lift another without being lifted too. So remember this, when you give selflessly, you are not just changing someone else's life, you are setting into motion a ripple that may one day circle back and change yours in ways you could never predict. Building a legacy of love and compassion. At the end of your life, people won't remember the numbers in your bank account, the clothes you wore, or the cars you drove. They will remember how you made them feel. They will recall the moments you lifted them when they were down, the times you gave when no one else did, and the compassion you showed when the world was cold. That is the essence of legacy, not possessions, but the impressions you leave on human hearts. A true legacy is not built in grand monuments or loud announcements. It is written in the quiet acts of love and compassion you practice daily. When you choose to forgive instead of holding a grudge. When you choose to help instead of turning away. When you choose to listen instead of dismissing. These moments carve your name into eternity in ways money never could. Think of those who came before you. The greatest people the world has ever known are not remembered for what they took, but for what they gave. Their words still inspire, their kindness still moves through generations, their compassion still shapes the future long after they are gone. That same opportunity lies in your hands right now. You don't need to be famous. You don't need a big stage. You just need the courage to love, to serve, and to give with no expectation of return. When you live with compassion, you create a chain reaction. One life you touch today can touch 1,000 tomorrow. A word of encouragement to a struggling soul may set them on a path that changes their entire family line. A small act of generosity may spark someone to rise, to build, to lead, and to pass that same kindness to countless others. This is how legacies are born, not by accident, but by intention. What will people remember about you? Will they say you lived only for yourself? Or will they say your life was a gift to others? Will they recall your bitterness, or will they feel your compassion echoing in their own actions? So, my friend, as we close this message, remember, kindness and generosity are not just good ideas. They are life's greatest investments. Every act of love, every seed of compassion, every moment of giving builds a legacy far greater than wealth or fame. Start today. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the voice that gives someone hope. Be the light that cuts through someone's darkness. That is how you honor your life. That is how you make your days matter. We believe in building lives of purpose, courage, and love. Take care of your family, encourage one another, and never forget, the world becomes brighter every time you choose kindness. Stay strong, stay motivated, and may your journey be blessed with success, health, and a legacy that echoes through generations.